Hello there. This critical fact is now clicking with more and more people. This is population demographic dynamite. I've talked about this before, but despaired with the scant amount of attention paid to it. But now I see that people have suddenly woke up to the real reason for our government push to maximise immigration and our massively fast demographic changes in the UK. I saw an article about it in Breitbart yesterday and a similar one in the Telegraph this morning. And they both point to a massive problem we have in the UK that is causing these things to happen. And be in no doubt, all our political parties are well aware of this, but none of them will discuss it. Ever. Because if the general population found out how they've been treated, the dam could burst. This problem that no government wants to talk about, let alone address, has been 50 years in the making. And what I'm talking about is the UK's disastrously low birth rate. And the United Nations 2000 report called Replacement Migration. Yes, that report really does exist. But it's not a plan to replace you and me. No, it's a plan to replace the children we didn't have, with adult workers further down the line. Yes, that's correct. Don't have youngsters who can turn into productive workers in 20 years' time or so. No, just wait until you need workers, then import them from around the world. No need for children. But absolutely no plan to put in place family-friendly policies so that we can live full human lives with children. No, that is not for the UK population. The UK population must be kept hard at work, not wasting time on bringing up children who get in the way of two parents working full-time to keep GDP as high as possible. Births hit a record low last year, says the Telegraph, and we dispose of our potential with about 250,000 abortions every year. The "my body, my choice" and "don't have children if you can't afford them" and the "don't bring children into this foul world" lobbies are causing people to resign from the gene pool in ever greater numbers. As is the 2 children cap on child benefit. That is not good for the country. We desperately need family-friendly tax breaks now, today. We need children born here, so we can raise them here, fully immersed in UK culture, so they can grow up to become fully integrated members of our society. The alarming thing is, though, that the last time our birth rate was at or above replacement rate levels was 1974, 51 years ago. And the birth rate is still coming down. And now we have a Labour MP, Tonya Antoniazzi, tabling an amendment to change the law to effectively decriminalise abortion, so further reducing the status of childbirth and children in our society. While the Labour government has frozen grants paid to UK universities for nursing courses. No doubt that will lead to an increase in the use of immigrant nurses. And this will be touted as, "Look at how much we rely on foreign workers to keep us healthy." And this from a Labour government that has the daily temerity to badmouth the Tories for not investing in the NHS. Now, just a quick interjection. Please consider becoming a member of this channel for the price of about a pint of beer a month. And get this, only 8 to 10% of the global population is white. So having children is not about supremacy, it's about survival. And the woke left and others are well aware of this and try everything they can to force the UK birth rate down using that anti-birth, pro-abortion rhetoric I talked about earlier. Now, the Breitbart article talks about white children becoming a minority in the UK classrooms in the next 40 years or so. But of course, the woke lefties will say, what does that matter? Because all humans are equal, therefore skin colour is of no consequence. But we all know that if the situation were reversed, all demographic hell would break loose. And the same people are erroneously using the word genocide to describe the situation in Gaza. And reporting on a very recent study from Professor Matt Goodwin, Breitbart said, due to the rapid nature of the demographic change, driven in large part by declining native birth rates and the mass migration agenda imposed on the country by both establishment parties, the report went on to predict that white Britons would only make up 22.7% of the UK by the end of the century. Now, the number of UK-born workers we have entering the workplace today is directly connected to the number of UK births 18 to 20 years ago. And as I said, our birth rate has been well below replacement rate for half a century. So every year, the number of new British workers available to take up employment reduces. So every year, the desperate need to import more workers increases. But it's not just the UK. We are not in isolation having this low birth rate problem. Our fertility rate in the UK is about 1.5, with the replacement rate being 2.11. But compare our 1.5 with the EU's 1.38, recorded back in 2023. They have it worse than we do. So you can forget about importing EU-born workers too, because they will be competing with us to import workers from elsewhere in the world. And the rest of the Western world is the same. US 1.66, Canada 1.33, Japan 1.26, Australia 1.63, New Zealand 1.66. And our potential enemy, Russia, 1.42. Putin has realised the problem and is calling for families of 3 or more children. China has a fertility rate of 1.18. That is disastrously low. But China's takeover target, Taiwan, can only manage a TFR of 0.86. Without importing people, those internal populations will dwindle away. So we are already allowing huge amounts of people from the less developed world to make their way here because their birth rates are still very high. Chad, 5.94. Somalia, 5.91. Democratic Republic of Congo, 5.9. You get the idea. And our problem will get doubly hard as the developed world competes for each other's brightest and best. Now, to reverse this would probably take a concerted effort to keep the UK fertility rate at about 3 for the next 50 years, but that is never going to happen. Not now. Our anti-children mindset is now too deeply embedded. How many of our young people would countenance that? It's so sexist and misogynist, isn't it? And civil unrest will not change this one iota, as civil unrest will not create children. So you will still need imported workers. So if we retain this no children mindset, all that is left, it's sad to say it, is the managed decline of the UK settled population and a peaceful and civilised handover of wealth and power to the family-minded newcomers. And as far as I can see, that is exactly what all Western governments have been engaged in over the last few decades, with the only way out being to have more children born in the UK. with the decision on that generally being with the under-30s. Finally, please like, subscribe and comment below, and a big shout out to our Patreon supporters, and thank you for watching.